Hello, I'm Dr. E. Barry Gordon. Because of YouTube length limitations, this video is divided into 3 parts. Part A is primarily about a disease that I believe exists. If I'm right, this condition leads to a lifetime of comparative personal misery for hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of men and women. These afflicted individuals come out of adolescence without the ability to achieve fulfillment in many areas of their lives, simply because they're slightly to moderately deficient in testosterone, a hormone that's basic to all mammals, a hormone that's vital to full physical and mental health. Because of this deficiency, they reach adulthood doomed to plod through life, depressed, anxious, withdrawn, unhappy, lacking relationships. Because while it's obvious to all who know them that there's something wrong, no one knows what it is. Parts B and C are videos made by 2 men who I believe had this disease before they were begun on testosterone replacement. At the end, you'll hear some comments from the grandmother of the second man, the woman who raised him. Hello again. I'm Dr. E. Barry Gordon, and this is the 11th video in my series on testosterone deficiency. This disease is the most serious disease most of us will ever face, other than the one that kills us. And even that illness will likely have been worsened by the lack of testosterone. Yet with all that debilitating and fatal potential, testosterone deficiency is habitually ignored and neglected by almost all doctors. Today I'm going to begin discussing the specific diseases that are caused by or affected by testosterone deficiency. There are a lot of them, and I'll generally be presenting them from those that affect the youngest to the oldest. It's kind of ironic that the first testosterone deficiency disease to discuss, adolescent hypogonadism, really need not be part of these videos because it's a well-known and well-recognized disease. In this condition, extreme testosterone deficiency results in a failure of pre or early teens to enter into their adolescent growth spurt and to physically, sexually mature. Their testosterone deficiency is severe, and young people with these very obvious signs and symptoms are readily diagnosed and successfully treated with testosterone replacement. My concerns first begin with those adolescents having what I've recently come to believe is a milder form of testosterone deficiency that is not recognized by the medical community. It is not diagnosed, it is not treated. I call it post-adolescent testosterone deficiency. These young people do manage to produce enough testosterone to grow normally and even to sexually develop. But because of a mild to moderate testosterone deficiency, they enter into adulthood something less than fully mature. They wonder why they're not quite like other men and women their age, why they're not as hot about sex. If a young woman, she doesn't understand why she doesn't have orgasms like her girlfriends, or why she finds them difficult and less than fully satisfying. These young people wonder why they lack self-confidence, why they're chronically depressed or anxious, why they may lack ambition, why they're simply unhappy all the time. Understand that I see testosterone as a major factor in the world of depression and anxiety, even affecting a person's sense of oneself. We will be devoting a future segment to testosterone's psychological effects. These unfortunate young adults are doomed to live something less than vigorous, productive, sexual, happy lives. Because while those close to them see that they're not truly thriving, no one knows why. Certainly, no one ever thinks to check their testosterone level. So obviously, their deficiency is never discovered and never treated. What evidence led me to believe that this condition even exists? Several things. First of all, it should exist. Why do I say that? Almost all diseases have a broad spectrum of severity, from very mild to devastating, even fatal. If you'll recall, those early or pre-teens with adolescent hypogonadism have severe testosterone deficiency. If some adolescents have severe deficiency, by the nature of biology, many more should have mild to moderate deficiencies. I've had a couple of male patients, one at 51, the other in his 40s, who experienced a significant voice change, a deepening, during the first months of their testosterone replacement. Neither had ever had the sexual interest or pleasure that they were currently enjoying, and it eventually became obvious that they were actually finally completing puberty. Another male patient, age 31, had lived a life with minimal interest in sex and a profound lack of self-confidence, even to the point of maybe seeming to be antisocial. His testosterone level was very low, and replacement not only matured his interest in sex, but also significantly improved his self-confidence and his social life. When it comes to women, I've had many testosterone deficient patients tell me that not only do they not have much libido now, but they never had any real interest in sex, even as a teenager or a very young woman. In this regard, one of the many surprises I've encountered during this past decade was discovering how many women, while being sexually active, have never had an orgasm. I've heard this from quite a few female patients, ages ranging from 25 to over 50. When you ask questions, you learn things. Certainly there can be psychological factors behind an inability to orgasm, abuse as a child, a dominating, neurotic, sex-hating parent. There also can be physical illness or medications that prevent it. But I'm convinced that orgasm difficulties in young women is not only a very common problem, but that in the overwhelming majority of cases, the reason is a combination of clitoral insensitivity and insufficient mental stimulation due to their failure to have ever produced quite enough testosterone. Replacement therapy, by the way, brought all these women a sexuality they had never known before. If you recognize yourself in these descriptions, get your testosterone level checked. Make certain, however, that you get the right test done and that the results are interpreted properly. Very few are. It may not be nice to say, but don't trust your doctor to know. Review video 6, in which I discuss the problems of testosterone testing in detail. Study the testosterone testing section on my website, www.thehiddendisease.com. Testosterone testing is at the bottom of the medical studies page. If you do see yourself as possibly fitting this picture of post-adolescent testosterone deficiency, and don't find out if you have an adequate amount of testosterone, and don't get proper treatment if you're deficient, you may be making the biggest mistake of your life. In my next video, I'll begin the enormous subject of acquired testosterone deficiency. Those conditions arising in people who once had an adequate amount of testosterone, but then, as we all eventually do, began to lose it. And finally, help me inform everyone about the existence and nature of this disease of testosterone deficiency. Email these videos, these links to everyone in your address book and ask them to do the same. And by all means, tell your friends and relatives about them. I'm Dr. E. Barry Gordon. Thank you very much for watching.